chasing the endless summer.
Hi everybody, we're here at KC and we're interviewing
Stephen Ulrich.
And I've seen you online. I mean, I've seen a lot of you. He's one of our Facebook friends out there. But you're here at the KC Metaphysical Fair. Can you tell us what you're doing here today?
You know, basically I read tarot. I read tarot from a foundation of Jungian psychology, and I do 3 spreads, and we look at things from different angles. I cannot, for instance, tell you that you've just won the lottery, but I can put the cards before you that the universe allows you to get that aha moment, that understanding of what you need to pay attention to. People say I'm very good. I myself have no idea, but I do enjoy reading tarot immensely.
But it's enough. You do well enough that you're willing to keep putting yourself out there. And I notice you have a lot good, nice piece of quartz there, but a lot of selenite here.
Yeah. Basically, when you come to before someone, your energy. When you come to my table, it should be a healing and understanding experience. We the selenites to defrag you, the kyanites to heal any issues you might have. The Lemurian crystal is just because I like it. The green calcites for abundance, and of course the opalite is for angelic communication. So when you come to my table, it should be a joyful and comfortable experience where you leave refreshed. Or that's my hopes anyway.
The anticipation. So good. And so if people wanted to find you outside of this festival, come here down here today, join us, or any of the ones that are upcoming. But where can they find you?
Basically, you should go to Facebook, and on my page, I have a Wix site. If you go to the Wix site and you go to the schedule, that will have my next expos or fairs. They'll be listed there. Right now, I'm going into a dry season because December and January don't have many expos. And I'm going to take the RV and head south because cold is, not even for the birds, because the birds even go south.
There you go. Thank you, everybody. We'll be back with more. And I am here at KC Metaphysical Fair, and we have yet another interview. And this one is
Harvest Moon Botanica.
Harvest Moon Botanica. And you are?
I'm Teresa Goodman, and I'm Jessica Derringer.
Well, this is a beautiful set. Lots of oils, and really well put together, clean, sharp. Can you tell us a little bit how you got to doing this? And what is it that we're looking at?
You're looking at all natural, non-toxic alternatives for spiritual care and physical care. We have handmade herbal preparations, oxymels, tinctures, syrups, herbal teas. We also have candles, handmade body products.
And how did you get to be making all this? It looks lovely, as you can see. Okay, folks, beautiful candle. And do it together? Okay.
So we're a collective, so the idea is, we combine our resources, combining our minds, and when our minds are working, are stronger, so we end up doing more, creating more.
And with combined abundance.
And so how can people find you?
We have a physical location on 41st and Truce. The address is 4107A Truce Avenue, Kansas City, Missouri, 64110. You can also find us on Facebook and Instagram at Harvest Moon Botanica. And we also have a website, www.harvestmoon.botanica.com.
Botanica.com, absolutely. And so there you go, folks. And we'll put those in the show notes on there. So one last thing. So one of the things I think I caught my eye about this is that one of the things I've noticed is that you don't have so it's all organic. I also like the fact that you guys are really packaging is really well solid built. And I think that's something people don't realize. Having good bottles, having good these sort of things that are reusable.
Yes, we're all about recycling and reusing, and we also really honor our plant allies, and so we like to respect them and have them in respectable containers.
So there you go, folks. When you talk about yield beyond money, we're spending and helping out more than just the item. This is one of those great shops. Thank you. Well, with another great interview here at KC, we're speaking with
Gail Julian.
Gail Julian, and you're an artist here today?
I am.
I was noticing some beautiful pieces. And so what brings you out here today to the fair to show off your art?
Well, when our daughter does her show in this area, then we do the art for the show.
Oh, and that's Gigi, right?
Yeah.
Oh, that's great. She's been doing great. So there we go. If people want to buy your artwork, can they buy it elsewhere, or are they just here? Or you have an online presence?
I was online, but we just came back from California, so we haven't done anything much here.
So you have to come out here today if you want to see this, and we'll find out more soon. Thank you.
Okay, you're welcome.
You just have to find the spot.
Hi, we're back with Casey, and we're going to speaking with
Becky.
Mm-hmm.
I'm Becky with Swirls and Twirls Body Art.
Is that cool?
I use henna body art, and I incorporate healing and energy clearing with my henna. And henna is a stain that lasts 1 to 2 weeks. It's made from a plant that's found in desert regions. So I make my own henna with water and essential oil, a little bit of sugar, and of course the crushed up leaves of the henna.
So you make your own henna?
Yes.
That's kind of actually remarkable. That's pretty rare.
Then I make it, put it in my own little cones, and that way I know exactly what's in the paste and make sure that,
And what are the common symbols that people do? Is there a set of symbols, or do they ask for it?
I freehand all of it, so it depends on what the person wants. A lot of things people like are, lotus flowers, symbolizing feminine.
I know you have a little book of art pieces that they can look through.
But since I freehand them all, I can make whatever symbols or designs people want. If they have a specific design of power, or certain symbols, or that they really mean something to them, or that they want to use in any of their work, I can absolutely give that to them and infuse it with power. And it lasts for 1 to 2 weeks. So it's not a lifetime commitment, but it is really nice for that little period of time.
Terrific. And how would people find you after KC? Because this is, obviously come out here today.
Yeah, thank you, and I appreciate it. You can go on Facebook and find me at Swirls and Twirls Body Art.
Mm-hmm.
And I'm also on Instagram and I think that's about it.
That's plenty, believe me. There's always a handful out there. All right, terrific. And making your own henna. I have not heard of that before, so that's really fantastic. Blessing. We're back with another interview at KC Metaphysical. This has been a great day, and we are with
Julia Marshall, owner of Creativity by Julia.
Creativity by Jewelry, and that's jewelry, right?
Yes.
So, wow, so many wonderful little things here. Can you tell us about it? How did you get here to be presenting so many great little things?
Oh, okay. When I was a child, I always wanted to be an artist, and over the years, it evolved into other things. And then right before I turned 50 was when I really got back into creating things and selling them.
Mm-hmm.
I am a certified yoga teacher. I am a Reiki practitioner. And so all the jewelry that I make is set with good intentions. I cleanse all the stones before I touch them. And also whenever I'm making jewelry, I meditate while I'm making it. And I also make quilts. I make spirit dolls. I'm a maker of things.
Maker of things. And you were mentioning this, I was admiring this right before it.
Thank
And this
you.
is for sale?
Yes, this is a Walking Dead rag quilt that I made.
It is, isn't it? I didn't realize
Yes,
that.
And then the back of it is all flannel.
Wow.
And it's really cozy without all the bulk. Feels really good. And it's for sale here, or it's also for sale in my Etsy shop.
And how do people contact you after this?
Oh, through Facebook, Creativity by Julia. On Instagram, Creativity by Julia. And Etsy, it's Creativity by Julia, all one word.
And
Yes.
and there you go. Well, thank you so much, and I hope you have a great day here.
Thank you. I appreciate it.
So many that I don't even have.
And we're doing another great interview at the KC Metaphysical Fair at Harris Hotel. And we are with...
Hi, my name is Laurie Sherman, also known as the Urban Crone.
And you're here doing readings?
I am here doing tarot readings. I am.
Yep, there you go. So how did you get here? What is your origin story? What brings you to your superpowers?
I started down the pagan witchcraft path in the mid-80s, 16, looking for something, bebopped around between Buddhism, even went to a synagogue for a bit, hung out in Catholic church, and stumbled into a group of people, because this is back in the day when you had to stumble into them, you couldn't just look them up online. Stumbled into a group of people that were pagan and started practicing, and then from there ended up in Kansas City, and then from there ended up in a group in the Northland, and then got that group handed to me, and then ended up with Witches Meetup. Mm-hmm. So I'm one of the co-organizers of the Kansas City Witches Meetup. Mm-hmm. And I don't know, I like to read tarot and do things and stuff.
So let's particular in that tarot. What type of tarot do you read?
I read Rider-Waite Smith-based decks.
Okay.
That's the system I'm most comfortable with.
Okay, that's good to know. I mean, isn't it interesting today that there are so many different schools of it now?
There's really only 2 schools and then everybody else. So you have about roughly 60-70% of decks have a Rider-Waite base of some sort. Mm-hmm. And then there's a small group that like the Crowley Thoth Tarot style. And then the rest of them are very non-traditional. We're just going to rearrange things and do how we want them. And oh, look, it's Hello Kitty. And so it kind of depends upon. I started out with Rider-Waite. Mm-hmm. So for me, because I learned the Rider-Waite system, those are the most comfortable decks for me to work with.
Well, I started with the Rider-Waite too. I mean, anyone for the longest time, Rider-Waite, and continues to be, that format is the #1 produced deck in the world.
Mm-hmm. And again, because there's so many decks based upon it, mm-hmm. you can pick up any Rider-Waite based deck and read with it without a lot of, mm-hmm. prep work.
The second thing you did and mentioned, and it wasn't really actually included in this, but is the fact that you do the meetups here.
I do. We have a main event every month that's usually the 4th Wednesday of the month, but the holidays kind of skewed things a little bit for the next 2 months. We meet down at Aquarius Books, mm-hmm. which is a great place. Love it to death. And then we do public ritual and throw a coffee coven in there every once in a while, and teach workshops. All of it's free, so even better. Absolutely.
Wow. Okay. So this is a free outreach. People can reach out. Where do they find this?
You can find us on Facebook at the Kansas City Witches Meetup page, mm-hmm. and then from there we also have a group. And then we're also on Meetup.com, and that's also under the Kansas City Witches Meetup.
Go ahead. We'll start putting these into the Peg World Directory. That's one of the things that we'll be doing. I'm excited about all this. So there it is. One of the things I'm fascinated with, as a reader myself, and everybody has different sort of table pieces.
Right.
And I saw that you had a lot of crystals on
As
there.
readers, we do like our object. It's a little bit of everything.
And so a little bit about yours. Can you tell us a little bit?
I have a statue of Hecate. She actually has a piece of Super 7 there, which gets lost and then comes back, and then gets lost and then comes back.
Yeah.
I have a couple different crystal points, amethyst, quartz crystal, and this one is a smoky quartz. There's some blue lace agate. There's a couple of rose quartz hearts. There's a bloodstone, a little pentacle that I made.
It's great.
Keys, just a bunch of random.
Well, I just thought it was interesting because it was just November 16th, just 2 days ago. Is it 2 or 3?
Yeah, Feast of Hecate. It's one of her feast nights.
It was November
it's a
16th.
modern construct, so
Sure.
some pagans are like, no, because it's a modern construct, and some are
I'm
like,
all for
we
it.
don't care, we like a party.
That's right. I'm all for modern constructs. It's about us.
She
about
has a
it.
lot of feast days, though. She has one coming up on the 30th. 30th of every month is her feast day. It's her crossroads day, so you can leave some sort of offering at the crossroads for her and ask some sort of boon in return.
Well, I think, in Christianity, I think in Christian church structure, when they're healthy and things, they do a monthly potluck.
Yes. Yeah,
So
so
what-
it's kind of the Hecate version of the monthly potluck.
That's right.
Although you can't go get your casserole dish back no matter how much you want it. So
No, there you
it better
go.
be one you're not going to miss.
That's a lot of fun. So name me one thing that you're like obsessed with that beyond all this. There's a song out there, a food you like, exercise, podcast. It doesn't really matter.
What am I obsessed with?
Or do you?
Really, I try to spread it out. I don't really obsess over any. I try not to obsess over anything. I have hobbies, so they are what they are.
That's a healthy response. It is, absolutely. We agree that it is. But people do have them. So yours, you don't really have obsession. You kind of that. You say hobbies, like what type of hobbies?
I wood burn. I paint. I crochet. Just things to keep my hands busy.
A great deal of power is going to pass behind you right now.
I'm used to a great deal of power passing behind me. Just throw. Yeah, that works.
There you go. And with that, this is a second with a lot more power behind her than she started this interview with. There you go. And how can they find you outside of coming out here to KC? If they're coming out, that'd be great. Come out here. You're in the room, blown away by this. But how can they find you outside of this? Because likely
Outside
there's...
here, I have a Facebook page, Urban Crone.
Okay.
I do a lot through there. When I teach a workshop, I do promote it through my Urban Crone page, and I'm also on Instagram as well.
Okay, what's your next workshop coming up?
My next, we are doing Yule Ritual at Aquarius, December 19th.
There you go, folks. Blessed be.
Blessed be.
And we'll probably have more this weekend. And we're here at KC taking on another interview with another one of these great vendors, and we're speaking with
Chelsea Medlock of Sevana Wren Studio.
There you go. And what are you doing out here at this festival fair?
So this weekend I've been doing astrology readings, specifically birth charts and solar returns, as well as tarot card and oracle card readings, but I really enjoy also doing chakra readings using my cards.
Okay, chakra readings by cards. Can you explain that a little bit?
Yeah, absolutely. So what happens is that I tune into the chakras of my person that is sitting with me, and I ask spirits what kind of support that they could use right now, and then using whatever deck they choose, I give them a reading, and from those cards, I figure out what kind of support they could use, whether it is throat chakra support or root chakra, and then from there I come up with a couple of suggestions on how they can support those chakras, whether it is rebalancing them or removing blockages, and a lot of times it has to do with different modified yoga moves.
That's fascinating. I noticed that you have runic dice, am I saying?
I do have runic dice, as well as astrology dice.
Wow, those are astrology dice. Ooh.
Yes.
Disomancy is one of those things I really enjoy, and you've got some beautiful cards. So you're all around equipped to do a lot of different types of readings and a lot of different work.
Yes. Yeah.
So when they sit down here or they come out, they can get a lot of different types of systems being put into place. Skills, art, craft, whatever you want to call it. So you mentioned one last thing, it was astrology. If people want to get more astrology, because astrology is becoming, again, it's coming back around.
It is.
And so how would people find out how to do astrology or any of this with you if they're not here today?
So they can reach out to me on my website, which is www.savannahwrenstudio.com. That has all of my information as well as more detailed information about my specific services. Or they can find me on Facebook, which can be a little bit easier sometimes to find me if you don't have the website. But in both cases, there you can get the information about my astrology or card readings, my yoga that I do, as well as most of what my business is actually geared toward is trauma support in a variety of different capacities. And so whether that is helping with chakras or astrology through trauma-informed yoga and meditation, a lot of what I'm doing is that deep internal introspective shadow work that I help my clients with.
So can you go into that a little? I did not know that. That's really interesting. Can you go a little bit deeper into that for me? What I'm looking for, probably a quick explanation. How would you even know that you would need that type of work? How do that sort of find out?
A lot of times, trauma is becoming one of those buzzwords nowadays. You hear it quite often, but a lot of times trauma doesn't have to be a very specific traumatic event. We can have complex trauma, which can lead to extended exposure to verbal, emotional, or those more hidden types of abuse or energies. And what I ask my clients to do is that we sit down and we kind of go over a little bit of their background, and we look at areas of their life where they have created negative core beliefs about themselves or the world around them, because that can give an indication of areas in which they have suffered trauma, abuse, or just feeling neglected or abandoned in some capacity. And when we feel that way, we create this separate part of ourselves that we want to just shove down and repress. And when we do that, we compartmentalize. And that causes us to feel like we're not a whole, complex being.
Beautifully said. Thank you so much.
You are most welcome.
And here we go. And so, find her online if you're not. And watch her. This is one of the great readers. The next time you get in there, come to this one or next one, KC Metaphysical. You never know what's going to happen. And we're doing another great interview, and this time I found something that I've been seeing on the internet. It is this idea of a tutorial ultimate tarot deck. I've talked about it a little bit, but here we are with one of the people involved with it. How you doing? And why don't you introduce yourself?
Sure. My name is Pamela. I am the creator of the Territorial deck and the owner of Raven and Roque. We created this to be a bit of a neurodivergent tool. I had a stroke in 2019. And so I'm all about neurodivergence and helping out people with memory issues. And it basically started from stemming from there. And then also my daughter wanted to learn tarot. And she was like, why don't you make me some flashcards? Why don't you do something like that? And I was like, well, I'll do you one better. I'll make you a deck. And so it started just as a simple deck for her. And then her friends wanted some. And then coworkers wanted some. And it just kind of went.
And there we
bananas.
are today. And as you saw, you haven't seen it. And the cards are different. I'm not going to show you the deck because I want you to go out and buy them. But instead of having it out, it really talks about the deck and teaches you how to do it. That was the 10 of Cups. Huh.
Yeah.
What does that mean? So there you go. That's my day.
That's because it has the meanings of the cards directly on the card. So.
And that's very interesting. And I saw that. So, and you actually even have a nice little card here about cleansing your deck. That's them on one side, so you can find them. And there's a little bit about cleaning your deck. So they're worth that. So let's talk a little bit about Raven and Rogue.
Yeah.
That sounds like two people.
Well, I'm basically the Raven, and then my partner is like the Rogue. It's a fun video game thing. I'm into the Morrigan and things like that.
Yeah.
And then they're into video games, and they always end up choosing a Rogue. And so when we were choosing it, we're like, that sounds kind of cool.
And what does Raven and Rogue actually do?
The primary thing is we try to make some spiritual tools for people that are maybe newbies or they don't really understand certain elements of things. Like if you're looking for information on runes, there's a lot of information out there. There's a lot of like conflicting information. And so you want something that's sort of an all-encompassing starting point. And so that's why we'll do things like these quick reference sheets, or we'll do like the territorial deck and things like that. We have spell kits that'll kind of teach you like how to make a spell jar, because sometimes people don't know where to start. So that's really the primary focus of what we're passionate about. And then we sprinkle in fun things like some ethically sourced crystals and some candles every now and then. We make our own incense, all kinds of fun stuff. So.
And then where can they find you? I mean, we've got all your things, but where can they find you?
Well, we have a lot of followers on TikTok, so if you want to see goofy videos of us on TikTok, that would be cool. We're at Raven and Rogue on there. We're also at Raven and Rogue on Facebook and Instagram, and then ravenandrogue.com is where you can shop.
Sure. Well, thank you.
Yeah, thank you.
And we're back with another amazing member out here at KC Metaphysical, and we are speaking with
Julie Larson.
And you are doing Grandmother's Dancing, I see there.
Grandmother's Dancing Herbals is the name of the business that I have. I do a lot of different things through this business. So I do a lot of herbal work, which I've done for over 20 years. With 4 sons, it's really kept me out of the emergency room quite a bit. Very grateful.
Yeah.
I do readings mostly, which I enjoy so very much, and this fair has just been amazing. Amazing people coming in, and I couldn't have asked for a better fair this year. So the whole Grandmother's Dancing encompasses many things. It encompasses energy work. It encompasses herbal work. It encompasses readings, and my readings are not simple per se. I don't have one deity or one energy that comes through to speak to anybody. It is typically ancestors, people that have crossed over that they know that are coming back to offer guidance, and ancestral wisdom is what I call it. There's also the aspect of Archangel Michael, Gabriel, Raphael, Lady Nada, a lot of them, just Metatron. They come through and do a lot of healing work sometimes as well. I'm trying to think what else.
So let me go ahead. So how do you convey your readings? Is it clairvoyance? Is it through cards? Or what is it that, when someone sits here in this wonderful seat, which is available as soon as I get up?
Yeah. So when someone comes and sits down, typically I will utilize my Kuan Yin cards. And I do that to supplement what is not being utilized through me as a channel or given through me as a channel. So the cards are, I don't know the word for it. It just kind of grounds what the message is that has come through for them.
So primarily you're a channeler.
Yes.
That is a tough. That's a tough one because it is because it takes a lot of energy. It takes a lot.
Yes, it does. This is day 3, and I'm feeling very tired.
Okay, absolutely.
It's the beginning of the day, but I know that throughout the day, my energy is always restored, and drinking lots of water helps. So when someone sits down, I do let them choose from card decks which one resonates with them, but typically it is Kuan Yin. This weekend it has been the Wild Elemental.
Wow.
Very much, yes. And our Santa Muerte, which I love dearly. It's a beautiful deck of cards. It's very on point. They don't mess around. There's no sugarcoating, but it's very kind and it's very loving. But it's that grandmother's tough love kind of thing, eh?
Yeah. And so, if people outside of here, so you sound very much that you do a lot of spiritual lifestyle work, as I would call it.
Yes, thank you, because I didn't know what to call it.
Well, spiritual lifestyle, I mean, the people who are living more spiritual lifestyle, it's a combination of readings and forms of herbalism, a form of medications. It's more integrative. And Reiki energy.
The goal, Reiki energy, yes. The goal, and I remove, they utilize me to remove negative energy and entities and things like that. Also, clearing and cleansing of spaces and places, vehicles, homes, offices, things like that. It is a modality that I do my best to bring people into their own heart and themselves. Bring it back to you, because that's what it's all about. And helping them get to know themselves on a deeper level and understand how that spiral within us works and how it fulfills us. It doesn't take things away, it fulfills. And it changes, and you are the alchemist of yourself. You are the alchemist of your life, your choices, your being, nobody else. So right now, teaching people not to give their power away. You go pick up those pearls you cast before the swine, because they're yours and they're important no matter what they are.
And so how people contact you online. That was beautifully said. I love that.
Thank you very much. I do have a Facebook page, which is Grandmother's Dancing Herbals. I have a website, Grandmother's Dancing Herbals. You can also, it's best to get a hold of me through text message, because I am not an email person at all. I just don't have time to sit. I had the other day, I had to go through 4,000 emails and delete them. So text messages, phone calls, those are the best way to get a hold of me.
There you go. Thank you, folks.
Thank you very much.
Blessed be, and we'll be right back. And doing another great interview from KC Metaphysical Fair. We're now talking with
Bobby Wiggins.
And that's Wiggins Wonders and Wisdom. Saw that card, very beautiful. And what are you doing here today? It looks lovely.
Thank you. I do oracle card readings and crystal readings, and they're intuitive messages that I get from Spirit based on what I'm seeing and feeling and kind of feeling in my intuition and what I'm hearing, because I'm also like an auditory person. And then I make a lot of jewelry. I make earrings, necklaces. I also do paintings and photography. I didn't bring a lot of my artwork with me today, but I have a variety. I have full moon bags as well. And they're just small little bags for an easy, quick full moon ritual.
That's wonderful. And if people want to find out more about you online, how would they do that?
I have a website, wondersandwisdom.com, and then I also on Facebook and Instagram and TikTok. I will be getting better at social media. I'm kind of slow and steady with it, and that's at Wiggins Wonders and Wisdom. Most of them will just be Wonders and Wisdom. If you just put that in, you'll be able to find me.
It's actually a really cool name. And if you're doing TikTok, you're doing something right. There you go.
I've only done like one video, and I'm hoping to like increase that and do a little bit more.
All right, terrific. Well, thank you.
Absolutely.
Hi, I'm back to Aquarius in Kansas City, one of the largest metaphysical and sort of spiritual stores in the Midwest. You can find just about everything here, and we're with one of the founding owners of Barbara Criswell. We saw you right before COVID. How's it been going since then?
We have been so incredibly blessed, it's hard to express it. While the rest of the world was falling apart, we limited our hours, all wore masks, limited the number of people in the store at times, but had incredible sales. It's as though with everything else falling apart, people felt a need for things that let them feel safer, protected, cleansed. And so we became the resource person for people to help them through hard times. So our sales were much more than we projected, and it's continued this year, even though people have other choices to go. I think one of the reasons people came here is that the whole family could come, and each person in the family would find something of interest to them. So we had people coming in with the stimulus money. We had people coming in, and each person would have a $100 bill in their hands. And everyone from the little kids who could find toys and rocks to the parents that might find advanced psychic or spiritual items. So everyone came in the whole family, everyone spent their $100, and we had an incredible year thanks to COVID. And it's continued this year, down from last year, but still very good.
And you're a large shop. You have a lot of things that happen. I mean, I see that you have classes, that's both free classes and paid classes of all sorts. And this weekend you had a trunk show, so you're constantly kind of rejuvenating your shop.
Constantly. Now we still are limiting numbers of people. We still are watching to be alert to how we can keep people safe. For instance, we don't have readers at the moment because we can't provide a safe distance for them to read and be safe. It's something that we're always watching though, and now that we're doing some limited group meetings, we're getting some experience in how people feel about them, and then how we can set them up to keep people the safest we can.
So everything you do about the store is about care, not just care of your staff, which I know your staff as well are very well cared for, but also your customer. You really seems to be the thing that you emphasize most is care.
Absolutely. It just seems to me if we take care of that, the universe takes care of us. There just really has never needed to be that concern for bottom line and business stuff. If we're doing service, then the rest of it falls in place.
And well, before this, I was going to ask you what's a little bit in the future, but you mentioned that you've seen activity from one of the more controversial aspects of our community, TikTok.
Well, you can always tell what's hot on TikTok because they're coming in here, and carnelian, I think, was the hardest one. Everyone in the world wanted carnelian for a week, and we ran out, but pretty soon we had it back in.
So that's made a real impact.
Well, it brings people in, and I would hope that people find it a good experience and come back because it's fun to be here.
So do you have any expectations for the future?
Well, I think that okay, that's hard to say because I think we live in the moment.
Yeah,
but
we do.
On the other hand, we have a history, and there's every reason to anticipate that the future will be like the past, so long as we are focusing on what people need, not what we want to sell. So long as we're focused on what people enhances people, rather than what makes the most profit. And so long as our focus is there, it just seems to me, well, my experience is that the world takes care of us so long as we keep service in the forefront.
Thank you. And everybody can find you at Aquarius, Kansas City. Where are you guys located at if they want to find you?
3936 Broadway, Kansas City, Missouri.
Absolutely. There we go. And we'll be filling in more. And we'll be talking more about this as the year goes on. Thank you so much.
Oh, thank you. It's fun.
And we're back in Kansas City at Kansas City Aquarius with Katerina. Hi, Katerina.
Hi.
And so, Katerina, you're out here. The last time we spoke to you was right before COVID. We were talking to you about your art and how everything was going. Can you tell us a little bit how it's been going since then? It's been over 2 years.
It's been going well, but there has been a lot of change and a lot to keep up with. Fortunately, Aquarius is doing really well. There's definitely been a revival of interest in spirituality, and that has kept us on our toes around here, trying to provide what people need and want.
And you're doing really well on the internet. People are expressing themselves, that sort of thing. But you're really on the top of your hands are on the trends. Can you tell us a little bit what's happening in the sort of pagan and sort of the world around it?
Yeah, absolutely. I feel that this being such a large store where people from all over the Midwest come to, we get a really good idea of what's hot and popular and what new interesting things folks are doing. In our book room, I can tell you that our natural magic section continues to be very, very popular. People are interested in doing forms of spirituality that are connected to the earth and nature, but aren't maybe a structured religion. That's continuing to grow. Our Wicca section actually has still continued to be one of the top sellers. There are some people who are still being drawn to that. And oddly enough, our ceremonial magic section didn't used to be so large, but it's been growing and growing. There's a lot of interest in that style of magic as well, and people kind of wanting to dip deeply into the occult. We even had to last year introduce a traditional witchcraft section to differentiate that form of witchcraft from Wicca. There's a lot of cool stuff going on that people are learning about, a lot of new books coming out, a lot of good things.
How about tools and candles and all of the accessories?
Oh yes. One of the more interesting things is that people are really into selenite in all its forms, but they are looking for selenite athames. So there's this kind of combination between a dagger and a crystal. You're kind of combining two different tools almost. So you have that kind of athame carved out of crystal that's great for like energy work, cutting cords of attachment really. And then you see some odd like selenite bouquets where they take a large selenite stick and they have herbs and flowers around it and almost use that for smudging. That's been a really interesting new trend. People are still interested in cleansing with herbs, which is a practice that you find in a whole bunch of different cultures, just depending on the herb. There were different things that different people would burn for cleansing, and they're looking for alternatives. So people are looking for cedar, juniper, looking for even like dragon's blood mixed with different herbs, Herba Santa from South America, Palo Santo, things that aren't just white sage, but really getting creative with those cleansing practices. These Middle Eastern originating amulets that are being called Evil Eye are one of the most popular things going around. Of course, in times like these with the pandemic, everybody feels a need for protection. And the Evil Eye bracelets and Evil Eye charms are actually said to protect against the evil eye, which could be interpreted as anger or bad energy or jealousy from someone else. So they protect you from the energies of other people that might be harmful. So people are absolutely loving that. Anything with an evil eye on it will go. It works kind of under what I call the jack-o'-lantern principle, which is that you use spooky things to scare away spookier things. So if you deck yourself out in spooky-looking eyes, you are warding off spookier things. I do tarot reading, chakra interpretation readings, which is similar to aura reading, and also chakra healing.
Okay, so you're more on the energy side.
Yeah. I work with a lot of spirits myself. I don't tend to do the readings where I work with other people's spirits.
I can understand that. Last night we were in the room last night. We had a very strange shower of a person, of a young individual, and their privacy. But they had a strong effect last night of being able to see some auras. They were mentioning that they were seeing it for the first time. That was very exciting. And you were right there to help interpret. You were right there to kind of very much encouraging. Do you find yourself in those types of situations?
Oh, all the time.
Okay.
Especially in Aquarius where I work, we have psychic fairs. We have people coming in asking about things all the time. And we have people who come in who ask about the spirits, and I can see the spirits with
Mm-hmm.
them. But usually I try to refer them to a professional psychic, either because I'm too busy, or sometimes you don't want to tell them what's going on. For humorous reasons, I had at least one person come in recently, and they were very, very scared of a spirit that was following them, and I gave them some reassurance and some sage to do. But I could see it, and it was a little thing, and it was so cute. But I didn't want to make them feel bad by laughing at how cute it was.
Right.
So so sometimes I just keep that stuff to myself.
Right, of course.
And it makes working easier.
So as a young woman, and you're starting to see the culture around you, and you're very much a practitioner. You got the history, and most people don't realize history goes farther than Gardner. There's a lot more history than to witches.
Oh, there's history all over.
Right. Is this idea that witchcraft? I just published an article. Witchcraft is business. You're starting to see that. We're seeing a lot more young women identify as witches. Do you think that you're that the witch culture is coming into its own, or do you think that's, just something that's temporary?
Yes and no. I mean, everything's temporary.
Okay.
But I do feel that there's a couple things happening. For one, there's a break from Wicca and a huge movement of traditional witchcraft. So people who are interested in practicing witchcraft but not really feeling the parts of the Wiccan religion are breaking into their own thing. And it's nice that there's a word for that. There's a word to be like, I'm just practicing a practice, but I'm not following these kind of deity related things and these different ceremonies in Wicca. And there's also sort of witch aesthetic culture. So there's a lot of just very light witchcraft, use of crystals, use of just like astrology and planetary energies that's spreading and becoming also its own thing. So there's sort of another group of people who just are in love with witches, which I think is great. In a lot of ways, it makes stuff more available to all of everyone. Because it's popular, it's easier to get the tools that we want and need, and it's making it more socially acceptable. It's very encouraging, I feel.
Okay. So do you do spell work?
Oh, absolutely. Yeah.
For yourself?
Yeah, all the time.
Do you do it for clients, or?
I do not, no.
Okay. That's because that's become one of those big questions out there. But you do tarot, you do help them find studies, you help them find their tools.
And again, witchcraft has a history of being a service industry.
Absolutely.
A long history of being that. So it's not really new that people are doing magic for money. There's nothing, crazy or new about that. I prefer to do magic for myself, and I would always prefer to do it myself rather than to have someone do it for me. But I can understand why people might want the help of someone experienced. I've done some psychic readings and gone to some psychic readers at times when I felt like my head was too compromised to see clearly. So it's good to have that available out in the world.
Excellent, absolutely. So as an artist, I have beautiful paintings.
Oh, thank you.
Very much intuitive. I noticed that you are definitely an art of as you mentioned in the piece that we did with you with the art, very psychically drawn, oriented to that. So
my work mostly comes from dream works and from meditative visions. Yeah.
So where would you like to see your art go, or is it you're just doing it for the sake of it?
I do it because I love it, and I do it as honestly sometimes a coping mechanism. I did have depression for years and years and years in a very bad way until I was able to understand what the source cause of that was and work it out and change things. But for at least a good 10 years, I was pretty severely depressed, and art was the ultimate coping mechanism for me. I actually find now that not only has my career taken a very sort of priestess witchy path, but I'm so much better, it's a little more difficult for me to want to do art, and I'm trying to learn to be inspired differently. But I do the art for myself, and then if people love it, then people love it, and that always makes me happy. So
how do people contact you if they want to contact you?
Facebook's the best way. I'm all over Facebook. It's Katarina Elaine, Katarina. That should help you find me. Look for the picture of the goth. And you can also find me usually where I work at Aquarius. People will come in and say hi to me or talk to me if they need to get a hold of me there.
And it's a great place to ski. We're trying to tell everybody, come out and visit this space.
Oh,
it's unlike
it's so worth visiting. Yeah.
Right. And one of the other things you do is that the Temple Scarlet.
Yes.
Did I have that correct?
Yeah, Temple Scarlet.
Okay, when I hear scarlet, it's a bright color. And for me, that actually is going to become one of my favorite colors. But you also see it as a mark. It's supposed to be the mark of, the crimson letter, the scarlet letter. Mm-hmm. The book, I guess the book is what really makes that color forever kind of having a dark connotation.
Yeah, very memorable that way.
So why would you call it Temple Scarlet?
It's relevant. All of those things are relevant. There are multiple layers to the color scarlet, symbolism, things that it taps into. Scarlet is also the color that's in between the root and the sacral chakra, our sense of security and our sense of both creativity and sexuality. That's that color in between the orange and the red. And there is a history of it being used in ways that are tied to sexuality. It's got a lot of different levels going on there. And the Temple Scarlet organization is all about sacred sexuality. It's about creating safe and consensual events to explore sexuality through a spiritual lens, where spirituality and sexuality can come into alignment instead of fearing it, denying it, instead of doing a lot of things that the mainstream culture do where they just try to shun and repress sexuality. We're looking at it in how it can be helpful to us spiritually.
So one of the things I think that pagans and Wiccans and other religionists, and you had a nice little, we'll have to get that one again, and how to describe it. But ultimately here, sex is not a sin. Sex is not anything beyond, because it's divine, it's gracious and everything else, but it's nothing beyond our senses. I mean, there's not anything. It is not a requirement to procreate, though you're perfectly appropriate to do so, right? But sex is, for at least from your point of view and the religious point of view in this case, is nothing's harmful about it.
Absolutely not. Someone once asked me, wouldn't pagans be way more open about sexuality? I'm sure that they just, are cool about it. And I said, you would be wrong. You would be wrong. Because our culture, even like the roots of American culture, are founded in Puritanism, and it's carried over, and it carries over even into all of the varying pagan religions at times, because people aren't being consciously aware enough of how they are affected by the beliefs of the mainstream religion and by our culture's views of sexuality. They don't take the time to break down what they believe about sexuality and to say, oh, well, in my particular spiritual path, that's really not a bad thing, and maybe I should embrace that more. But they just keep going along with what they were taught by others.
So what type of events is Temple Sacred doing?
They're doing a lot of educational things. So there are different, we recently had a cacao ceremony. We've had some classes about Eastern sexuality, about Tantra. We have polyamory class upcoming. We do some BDSM type classes as well. So most of our work are very open and safe, just educational classes, places for discussion and learning. And we are a nonprofit, so we offer our classes around Kansas City for free. Then we also have a retreat every summer that is an intensive weekend-long retreat. And there we get really into depth. We have a lot of rituals on the schedules. We have evening fire time where people party and talk and enjoy the evening. We have a lot more classes and a lot more interactive workshops when we're out at a summer retreat. And that retreat, it's transformative. It can be life-changing. It has been for a few people.
So at the very least, it'll improve yours. When you go back Monday, you can say you've had a great adventure, right?
Absolutely, yes. At the very least, you will have had a great adventure and learned a lot and been able to experience a lot of things.
And how would people find that?
TempleScarlet.com.
Okay. Wow, you got the name. Congratulations.
Yeah.
Well, thank you, and I appreciate the interview.
Thank you.